welcome to my latest experiment. This is the big one, the one I've been waiting for all my life.
What is it?
Try to imagine all life as you know it stopping instantaneously and every molecule in your body exploding at the speed of light.
Oh my God.
The cream will rise to the top, oh yeah.
And I am the voice of the voiceless.
And there is no one that does it better.
The Guy and Harley podcast, streaming all over your face.
Perhaps that was the most important part.
Can you dig it? Can you dig it? Can you dig it?
Pigville on the internet. Have you ever thought back to the beginning? Before there was a time for time to begin in? Before there was a space and space for us to spin in, there was nothing. Forever, then something in a minute, like bang. I'm Harley Neville. Welcome along to the Guy and Harley podcast.
And I'm Guy Pigden, and who was that?
That was At Peace, who are the new band of. They used to be Homebrew, or one of them did. It used to be Homebrew. Then he started At Peace, and then he's quit At Peace, and now he's doing something else. But
he needs to just pick a band and stick with it.
He does, especially because all his bands are kind of successful and good. Tom, his name is.
So what is this drink that you've concocted here?
So we are enjoying the leftover vanilla vodka, which has been floating around our flat for perhaps literally a year, with some pineapple juice that we had in the fridge.
Nice.
So cocktails, pretty much.
Well, look, this all ties in nicely with one of the things that I've designed for this podcast.
Oh, yeah?
The Guy and Harley Show drinking game.
All right.
So here's just a couple of things. So what I recommend you do, you get yourself a couple of drinks. You get yourself a bottle. You have some beers on the side. And line them all up. And then you start from episode 1 and listen back to all of these fucking podcasts.
It's only 39 hours worth.
39, and see how far you get before you pass out blind drunk. I'm guessing, especially...
Well, when do they drink, though?
Well, I'll tell you in a second.
All right.
But I'm making an assessment. You'll get a few episodes in on any one drinking game sitting.
Okay.
Maybe. So anyway, here's a couple.
All right, what are the rules?
Drink every time Guy complains about being unsuccessful compared to someone else.
Yep, you'll definitely have a couple of drinks.
Shot every time Harley has an audition.
Okay.
Drink every time Guy says Shot every time Christian Bale appears on the podcast.
Well, that's the same as the audition one.
Yeah, that's 2 shots.
All right.
Skull whenever Guy or Harley make a joke about masturbation.
Ooh.
I actually did clock an episode the other day where we didn't make any masturbation jokes.
Really? But are you sure? I
was sure.
I reckon if you went back and listened to it, you go, oh, actually, no, there's 6.
No, I made a real note of it in my head. I was like, shit, not a single jerking off joke to be had tonight.
Well, damn.
Couldn't believe it.
Losing our touch.
Shot every time Harley talks about space and or the environment.
Okay.
So we just already had that right off the bat.
Drink.
Skull whenever Harley performs a poem. Mm-hmm. And shot whenever Guy and Harley talk about someone dying.
All right. There should be something in there for when we talk about getting old. Every time we mention getting old or aging,
okay.
That's another one. That's another one that pops up regularly. So, speaking of which, I've got an audition.
Oh, good for you. And how was it? I hope it was fucking good because it's useless now, isn't it? Fuck's sake, man, you're amateur.
And it's for the part of a, I should have brought it with me, but a man in his late 30s to early 40s, average looking, middle class, middle rung, conservative, looks okay in a suit, like moderate health, sort of just normal health, and looks okay in a suit, not good on the beach.
That was the description.
And that was the description of the character. And that, when my agent read that, they were like, okay, early 40s, doesn't look good at the beach. Oh, Harley, yes.
Yeah. Well, the funny thing about it is, too, like, you are really cornering the market on schlubby, slightly below average looking guys.
Yeah.
Like you're really, your career is skyrocketed. Well, at least in terms of your auditions. You're getting like one a week for this type of role.
Yeah.
So, becoming old and ugly has been a boon to you.
There is a silver lining to every cloud. It's important to remember that, dear listener. There's a silver lining to every situation.
Yeah.
So sure, I'm the fattest and oldest and baldest I've ever been.
Your youth's gone. You can no longer be considered no one would look at you and go, "There's a handsome young guy walking down the street."
Who's that handsome young guy that just walked into the gym?
Who's that virile young handsome man?
Yeah, it's not happening as much. But the silver lining is that I can publicly humiliate myself
and degrade yourself in these ads.
It's good. That's good. Tell you what though, 15 G's if I get it, 15 grand. So hey, it's kind of worth it.
You go, the aging process is kind of worth it to get 15 grand. Yeah.
Like I have been thinking, right? Because for a wee while there, I was like, okay, well, if you're going to do this acting stuff seriously, how would you do it? You'd save up a little bit of money, then you'd quit your job, right? So say you had 10 grand. And then you'd quit your job, you'd ration out that 10 grand into a weekly allowance for yourself to pay your bills, and then you'd spend all of your, free time. You'd have a schedule of 5 days a week in which you're either auditioning for things, you're finding free things to act in, you're shooting your own things, you're getting new headshots, you're just being really proactive with the acting stuff.
Doing theatre. God,
yeah.
Doing theatre. Degrading, debasing yourself in the theatre
in the theatre world. And just sort of getting really proactive with all of that stuff, and then hoping to sort of land one of these ads or one of these sort of $10,000 roles every X amount of months that you need to do.
Which is is what some of our friends manage to do. Our lead actress and older, Alicia, gets sort of just almost enough money from the money she makes through the ads that she gets on a yearly basis to kind of pay her way. Yeah. So she is kind of doing that, but she's also studying now. But she was kind of doing sort of what you're talking about.
Yeah. Well,
successfully.
Well, I was thinking though, like just this last year. I mean, I've certainly not earned enough to pay the rent, but that's kind of without trying and still while working a full-time job. So just imagine if I did really concentrate on it and try and get these $15,000 roles.
The possibilities,
or those $40,000 ones that come in every once in a blue moon.
Yeah. Wow, it's I mean. So what is that? What you're thinking?
Well, nah, because my job, my career is so easy that it's just not required. Yeah, my job. I've got this job where I put graphics on TV, and it pays really well, and it's like short hours, and what am I going to quit that?
Also,
crazy?
If we're poor,
now
if we're both poor, how's that going to work?
Yeah. Well, that's true. The I guess the going semi-pro will disappear. The going semi-pro plan, which starts next week.
Yep. So I will be working 3 on, 4 off, or 4 on, 3 off, if you want to.
If you want to look at it, yeah. 4 on the dream, 3 paying the bills.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. No. I mean, look. The last time that I wasn't really working was when I wrote "I Survived a Zombie Holocaust," and look what happened there.
Yeah. That's true. You got 5 years of 5 years of 20 cents an hour out of it.
And huge amounts of debt.
Huge amounts of debt and depression.
Yeah. So look what happened there.
So good. Let's do that again. Let's do that again.
Yeah. Now, speaking of one of our drinking games, now I would be remiss if not to mention this.
Okay.
But CM Punk,
yep,
the former professional wrestler, now about to be a UFC fighter.
Yeah.
My favorite wrestler of this generation of all time. I have a CM Punk t-shirt. Mm-hmm. I have a CM Punk hoodie. I have a CM Punk DVD Best in the World. I am really on board. I mean, shit, I wouldn't mind getting a CM Punk inspired tattoo.
Couple of crosses on the front of your hands.
Yeah, something like that. You know, just the straight. He has hit one of his sort of things is like a fist with a cross on it because he's straight edge.
Yeah.
Holding a lightning bolt.
Straight edge, for those that don't know, those of you that don't know, is people that don't drink or do use any sort of drugs.
So you can't play the drinking game.
Yeah.
You just have to have, like tea or something.
This is not a CM Punk endorsed
Punk couldn't
game.
Play
is he
game.
actually straight edge in real life?
Yes.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
he's not just talking the talk.
Yeah. And so basically, yeah, he's got this fist holding a lightning bolt, and I always thought that was a very evocative image because it's like the power's in your hands. You wield the power in your hands to do whatever it is you need to do, and it can be powerful. Lightning bolt powerful. Mm-hmm. So anyway, I'm a big fan of this guy. In fact, he's on the beginning of this podcast. CM Punk appears on every episode of this podcast in the intro.
Right, what does he say?
He's the guy that says, I am the voice of the voiceless.
Right, yeah.
So I really love CM Punk.
You do?
I love him. I want to bum him.
Yeah.
And anyway, so he sent out a tweet the other day.
Yeah.
About Deathgasm.
Yeah.
That's right, Deathgasm. The Deathgasm that just beat my ass at the Writers Guild Awards.
Yeah.
And every single other thing. Now, the other thing about this is CM Punk never tweets about films.
Yeah.
Most of the time he tweets about sports because he's a big sports fan.
Yeah. Or
he just tweets like sort of random stuff, maybe about comics, stuff like that. I don't think I've ever seen him tweet about any movie ever. In his whole tweeting history. I've been following him for 5 years. Okay? He's never tweeted about a film. And then he tweets about Deathgasm.
This small New Zealand zombie film competing directly with us.
Which his mother...
Although it's not much of a competition.
No, it's not a competition. At this stage, it's not a competition. But anyway, he tweeted about this and he said something like, awesome movie, you have to go see it. And he took a photo of like the Deathgasm, the poster midnight screening, which he presumably sort of walked into in America. CM Punk, my hero, my idol, loves Deathgasm. He loves it. And all I have to say to that is,
Oh, good for you. And how was it? I hope it was fucking good because it's useless now, isn't it? Fuck's sake, man, you're amateur. No! Don't shut me up!
So yeah, good one, Deathgasm. I'm glad you got that kudos from my hero. I'm real happy for you.
Yeah. Yeah, look, don't worry, mate. Just put it all in your novel. Put it all in your novel. It's all right. Just put it in the memoirs, bro. It's all good stuff for the memoirs. Just jot it down. You know? This is what you need to be inspired. This is fuel for the fire, man.
It certainly is fuel for the fires of rage that burn bright and deep in my belly.
Fuel for the fires that guy is going to be lighting around Auckland
as a
pyromancer, a fucking pyromaniac.
Because I got insane. Because I've lost the plot through jealousy and got insane.
Yeah.
So congratulations to them. That's wonderful. I just really hope that the director is a wrestling fan, and who knows if he is or not. But I just really hope that he is, because if he if he's like, someone goes, "Hey, CM Punk just tweeted you," and he goes, "Oh, cool," and that's it, because he didn't really follow wrestling and it had nothing to do with wrestling. Oh, that would make me so mad.
You have to assume as well that there was a direct monetary value to that tweet, like quite a big one. You know, like how many followers does he have?
He has 2.4 million.
2.4 million. Fuck me.
Yeah.
And presumably as well, most people that follow a wrestler because they like that wrestler and give a shit, and they're obviously exactly that. So
also he's like
they might actually check it out.
He's also like a heavy blocker.
Yeah.
So he like blocks people he blocks people all the time.
Yeah.
If they're shitty and trolly to him, and he just doesn't give a fuck.
Yeah.
So they are probably most of them are quite true blue fans.
Yeah.
And yes, I'm sure that was a huge boon.
On the upside, some of these fans might have seen this and they'll go, "What was that film again? There was some film. I heard it was like a New Zealand zombie film or something. I'll Google it. I'll Google New Zealand zombie film." And you never know that some of that 2.4 million might actually lead to some people inadvertently pirating our film.
We might have got some inadverted 0.00001% runoff
of the pirate
of the
pirated
pirating
version.
Yeah. So that happened. Well, what's going on with you? That's what's going on with me.
That's what's going on.
That's what I've been brooding over for the last couple of weeks. What's been going on with you?
Well, what has been going on with me? I'm a little worried that I'm going to just fuck this up entirely and not explain it properly at all. But it's getting very exciting, right? Because scientists have found...
Oh, shit. Here's another drink. Get ready for a drink.
Get ready for a drink, guys. Yeah. Scientists have found a star that is emitting some really strange light patterns.
Okay.
And now, normally, the way they've found all of the exoplanets so far, an exoplanet is a planet not orbiting our star, orbiting a different star, is they've looked at the star for a while and noted if the light ever dimmed at all. And when it does dim, that means that chances are something is passing between the sun and the observer. So what that means is probably a planet is transitioning between that, and then they look at it for a whole bunch of years, and they deduce, so there's a planet orbiting this, and it goes past every 3 Earth years or whatever. Anyway, they've found this star, which they've very creatively called KIC 8462852.
Classic nerds.
Classic nerds. But anyway, it's a really old star that shouldn't have any sort of debris of like a sort of forming planets or anything like that around it. It's been around for too long, right? That all should have been all sucked in ages ago. But it's got some really strange light patterns, as if things are blocking it regularly, but sporadically, not consistently. And it's like, well, what is this? What is this? Now, you'll know about this stuff, Guy. You'll know about this through your sci-fi, your interest in sci-fi, which is, there's this thing called the Kardashev scale, right? And there's 5 scales that civilizations sit on, and we're not even a level 1. So 1 is the lowest, 5 is the highest, and we're less than 1. Right. 1 is can capture all of the energy from a star and use it of their home star, and 5 would be like they can capture all of the energy in all universes that have ever existed, kind of thing. So anyway, they reckon though that if in order to become a level 1 civilization that was going to capture all of the energy from its sun, you'd have to make this thing called a Dyson sphere, which is essentially like a big network of machines and constructions around a star that absorb the energy of it, and then send that energy to wherever, the planet or whatever, or whichever species is using it. So anyway, they reckon that these emission light, these differences in light coming from the star could actually be consistent with a big Dyson sphere around the star, meaning that they might have seen it. And this is not just like, I don't subscribe to any sort of hokey pseudoscience-y sort of pages or anything like that where they're finding aliens every day. This is like kind of legit. It's a legit theory. It's a hypothesis. But it's pretty exciting, and so now they're going to start turning some big dishes towards it to listen to see if there's any kind of signals coming from it that would be consistent with technology.
Right.
But we may be looking at the first alien civilization
who are rocking a Dyson sphere.
That's pretty exciting stuff, man. What a time to be alive.
How far away is the star?
1,150 light years or so.
Not far.
Not too
How
far.
long will it take us to get there?
About 1,150 years if we could get
if we could go at the speed of the light, which we can't.
So the other thing too is obviously we're looking at this planet 1,150 years ago.
Yeah.
So effectively, if they're looking back at us, they're seeing us in the 6th century kind of thing.
What were we doing in the 6th century?
Like shitting in chamber pots. And pouring it out the window.
Rome?
Rome was before that.
Alright.
Rome was before that. But Rome fell, and then it went to the Dark Ages for a while.
Yeah.
And the Dark Ages is roughly around that 6th century, I'm pretty sure. I'm no scholar. But yeah, they wouldn't be too impressed. If they were looking back at us, they'd be seeing some pretty primitive stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Well, thank you for that, Harley.
No worries, man. I just thought I'd educate the masses, just tell them what's going on in space at the moment.
Appreciate that. I hope the listeners have had a good long drink.
So good.
Now, I got a couple of things.
Okay.
Now, The Block. Mm-hmm. The show that you hate.
I do hate it, yes.
You really hate it with a passion.
I do. Well, I mean, what's the deal with a show that's literally about watching paint dry?
Yeah.
And who watches these fucking things anyway? Like, in all honesty, like, who goes, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go home and I'm going to watch people doing menial chores.
Who gets a boner over renovations?
Really? And
like, who is just sitting, just jerking it to fucking people fix me uppers? Like, it's so weird.
Well, it's like cooking shows as well. It's like all these shows, these cooking shows, these building shows.
All these food is tasty.
Yeah, I know, but these are like cooking is a chore. Building is a chore. These are things that I pay other people to do as often as I possibly can. So why the fuck do you think I want to watch other people doing it? Like, it's literally, it's a boring chore that I don't want to do. So stop making TV about it.
Well, I guess the argument being that, people can learn how to do these things themselves.
Definitely. But how many people in New Zealand right now are actually actively renovating a house? Like, there will be some for sure, but
not to the block numbers.
Not prime time, 7:30 p.m. on a weekday.
Yeah.
Like that should be 10 a.m. in the morning on a fucking weekday. That's when they should be screening that fucking show.
True. Look, don't be impressed by the tools that I got. I'm just Block from the block.
Because I don't know if we spoke about this or not, but did we speak about how Angie and I applied to be on the block this year?
Yeah,
and we got shortlisted, and we got taken down to Warner Brothers, offices here in Auckland, and we got to meet the other potential contestants, and we had to do tasks and challenges and stuff like that, and then we had to go in front of the judges and be judged, and then we had to do some photos and do like a diary cam as if we were on the show and stuff.
So let it never be said that Harley Neville was not a total hypocrite.
Hey, look, man, I didn't have to like it to be on it, man. It's like like a very famous soap opera that plays every night here in New Zealand, which is going to remain nameless. I don't like the show, but I would happily act on it.
Yeah.
And it's the same with the block. I just wanted the publicity. That's really all I wanted, and I was pretty excited because we had this. It's quite a big opportunity. Like these contestants that got in, the only ones I remember are the two Asian girls. The two hot Asian girls are the only ones I remember from the actual on the day.
That's stuck in your memory.
They're the only ones that stuck in my memory. I don't know why. And so, but anyway, these guys are like on the back of buses. There's massive billboards with them all over it. Yeah. That could have been me, man.
Well, look, I just wanted to say, this is an encouraging trend because apparently the block is about half as popular as it was last season.
Yeah.
Which, shows...
Wouldn't have been if I was on it.
The law of diminishing returns. But it means that at least...
The law of diminishing ratings.
We can take some enjoyment from the idea that people are wisening up.
Yeah.
That people are smartening up. They're like, look, fool me once, shame on me. Fool me 5 seasons, well, there's just no fooling me anymore.
Yeah, well, no, but the thing is that it's not that the viewers are sharpening up at all, because they're not. What's happened is the budget is way lower. It's no longer iWorks Touchdown. It was iWorks Touchdown the whole time, and then now it's Warner Bros.
Fuck, you know a lot about the block.
Yeah, well, I work in the biz, bro.
You've done some intel on the block.
And, well, I used to work kind of indirectly on the block in a way. And so, yeah, it used to be iWorks Touchdown. Now it's Warner Bros. Apparently the budget is just like half what it used to be.
Right.
Like it's just not, it doesn't have the same scope as it used to, and it didn't used to have very much scope. So
it had the zero scope to begin with.
Like you watch the Australian one, it's so much better.
Yeah.
If you please don't watch it, but if you ever have to watch it, like, you'll see that it's so much better than the New Zealand just cheap knockoff.
Yeah.
And then this latest season is like half the budget of the cheap knockoff of the Australian version. So, it's just getting shitter and shitter, essentially. Well, plus, they fucked up the casting. I should have been on it.
Well, also...
Highest ratings ever.
The
Guaranteed.
The issue that I have, too, is that these knockoff... Like, everything we do is a pale imitation of a show from America or the UK that has done it better with more money.
Yeah.
And what I can't stand is that we're so fucking stupid that we go, New Zealand, and we just watch it like that is acceptable. But it's not acceptable. It's like if you see a shit version of something you've already seen, you don't watch it.
Yeah.
You don't fucking watch it until we make something up to the same fucking standard. And that really grinds my gears.
Oh, it grinds my gears too, mate. Like, reality TV is...
like watching porn knockoffs of bad reality TV is even more embarrassing. We're degrading ourselves, New Zealand.
Well, look, I don't want to sound arrogant.
You just said it was going to have the highest ratings of all time if you were on it, but you don't want to sound arrogant.
I don't want to sound arrogant here. But as I've gotten older, and I'll be interested in your thoughts on this, as I've gotten older, I have lost some of the rose tint that I had for life and for the world. Not so much for my life, but more for observations of the world, you know? It's more like I see it more in its true stark colours, you know? And, you know, one thing I've sort of started realising is that probably a good solid 70% of the population are fucking idiots.
Yeah.
You know, and I don't mean that in like a... I don't want it to be sort of a throwaway, or I guess, like, you know, you talk to these people and they seem okay. But then you realise that, well, hold up, who's buying stuff from the infomercials? Yeah. They are. Who's watching The Block? Well, these fucking retards are. You know, like, you know, these, who's voting for John Key?
Yeah.
What's, you know, all of these things that are sort of wrong with the world.
Who's ignoring climate change?
Who's
arguing that it is not a thing?
That it doesn't exist. You know, like, who are these people? And you realise that they're walking amongst us, and in fact, they are most of us.
The Walking Dead.
They are. Well, they're the walking killers as well, because they're fucking dragging us down with them.
Well, zombies do that. They kill people too.
That's true. But yeah, so I mean, I feel like maybe that's the issue. Maybe the issue here is that you've got 100% of the people in New Zealand, but 70% of them are fucking idiots, and they've all got money just like we do. Like, you know, they're not necessarily, you know, poorer or richer than us. You know, some of them are poorer, some of them are richer. They're watching stuff, and you've got to make content for the great mass.
Yeah,
the great dopey mass of humanity.
It is a bit depressing. I do see where you're going there, and I do agree. But I also believe that you know, you can pull people out of that. But you have to challenge them.
I agree.
You have to, you know, and that's the thing. Like, you know, that's the thing when you look at, like, you know, US television, UK television. All I hear over here is, yeah, we don't do Game of Thrones. We don't do Breaking Bad. We don't do these shows because at 7:30 or 8:30, you know, that's people don't want to watch that. And it's like, well, of course they want to watch that, but you do not give them the option to watch that. So if you do not give them the option, and you do not, like, you know, if blanketly everything is bad and safe and vanilla and cookie cutter and have been done before at that time slot, well, then obviously people are watching that because that's their only option.
Yeah.
Until you create basically, which is what they are, which is unfortunately what I think our television industry is creating, which is like basically a world of pirates. A world of non-watching TV pirates.
Yeah,
that's the thing, is the more and more people I know, they don't watch TV. They don't literally watch TV in the way that we all watch TV as kids.
Yeah.
More and more people, and it's only growing, and they kind of go, oh, well, you know, the statistics say that more people watch TV than ever before and whatever, and it's like, well, maybe they did, but we have a much greater population than we ever did before. And, you know, you're taking into account all the 50-year-olds that are much more likely to be participating in these surveys, right, who are not the target audience, A, that you want, but B, that are the ones that are all collectively switching off, which is what I think we're all doing. We're all switching off, and we're all just going to, I'll get my series from elsewhere. I'll watch those series, and they'll be good series, and they will not be New Zealand content at all. But we're cultivating that day in, day out with The Block.
Yeah, we are, but we are also, to be fair, part of the issue, because we're part of the problem in the sense that New Zealand content does get made, and sometimes it's quite big budget stuff. Like, for example, Filthy Rich is this new TV show coming out, right? Now, I'm pretty sure I heard that's like one of the highest costing shows we've ever made, right?
Yeah.
Did I hear that? Did you hear that?
Yeah, no, you'd be right.
I'm pretty sure I heard that.
It's sort of 20 episodes, I think, as well.
It?
Yeah.
Now, I haven't watched it. Is the first episode out?
I don't think it's out yet.
All right, cool. I haven't watched it, but I haven't shown much interest in it either. And, aside from this conversation we're having right now, I haven't really given it much thought either, and probably wouldn't have gone out of my way to watch it. And there's been other shows in the past, Blue Rose, for example. That was quite a nice-looking show.
Yep.
That I did not watch the series, and so the thing is that they can invest these millions of dollars into these high-end dramas that we don't fucking watch. So it's kind of our fault too, for not watching what they do create. The problem was with Blue Rose, for example, like it wasn't very compelling. I watched the first episode and I was like, well, it was a bit shit.
And that's the issue is like we can't do big budget things that are bad.
Yeah,
we have to do big budget things that are good.
Yeah, like I guess the Americans have so much. More experience at doing that than we do as well. So we could invest $20 million in some series, which wouldn't even be wouldn't be comparable.
Be a flash in the pan.
Yeah, compared to Game of Thrones. But say $20 million, and it wouldn't necessarily be good because we've never done it before.
What, a good show?
Well, a good show, or spent that much money on a show,
Well, I think, though, that, like, I guess I do hate that excuse that, like, it's New Zealand, standards are different. Because I do think we've made films that are as good as American films. They haven't been giant, studio monsters because we haven't had those resources, but we've definitely made stories that are as compelling, as interesting, with performances that are as good as anything else. And, and it's like, we can't, you throw it to you start watching foreign films, you'll see that a lot of them are better than what and these are not necessarily big films, but a lot of them are better than what the US is doing. So it's not that we cannot tell narrative stories successfully. It's just I really think it's kind of the people that are controlling both the purse strings and what kind of gets on are holding us back from really, like, just taking a fucking risk. Okay, we're going to take a fucking risk and we're just going to go crazy and we're just going to throw everything out. And kind of blow it up and see what happens and get all these young, interesting voices. Because there's another thing, there's a very big culture of just the same production companies and the same people getting money for different things. But it's their voice, it's the same voice, just over and over again. And whereas in the States, you'd kind of have those top people as showrunners who ran the show, and all these young writers, these fresh voices that they shape and mold. And now there's not enough money for that. So it's like, why would I split this writer's fee or this thing up with 5 or 6 writers? I'll just write it and get all that money because I fucking need the money because there's not that much money going around even for this show. And so, but it does create this really sort of insular culture where the same people get funded, the same things get money, and then the same things kind of get regurgitated, the same voice regurgitated different ways, the same actors, the same everything. And it's, I don't think good. I don't think that's healthy. So if you want to give us money for a TV show, that's all I'm saying.
HarleyNeville@hotmail.com, and you just need a PayPal.
Got a Hotmail.
You just need a PayPal account. Just go HarleyNeville@hotmail.com. You can transfer some money over.
He still has a Hotmail.
Hotmail's good.
Harley hasn't given up on his Hotmail.
I like Hotmail.
I can't even get into my Hotmail anymore.
Yeah, well, that's not my problem. Hotmail's good. That's not Hotmail's fault.
So yeah,
yeah. Well, the thing is, you're right about the sort of the people in charge of holding the purse strings. They're all a bunch of sort of middle-aged white people, middle-aged rich white people who really have zero connection to what young people who are what people really want to watch. Like I really don't think it's not healthy, like you say, and it's been happening for forever. And the thing is that they're never going to take that risk. They're never going to say, okay, let's drum up $100 million and shoot, Game of Thrones set in, I don't know, the Moldy Kingdom,
the most amazing kind of scenery and locations to shoot these kind of epic TV shows.
Yeah,
we just don't do them. Like America comes over and does the Shannara Chronicles.
Yeah,
and they make use of all that stuff and then leave.
Yeah,
but when everyone goes, I'm sure the Shannara Chronicles looks pretty damn cool. But everyone will be like, "Whoa, looks so amazing!" It's like we could have done that.
We could have done that. Yeah. Well, the thing is, I think that these people that do hold the purse strings, though, they're not going to say, "Yeah, let's drum up $100 million," because the fact of the matter is that if it doesn't work out, well, it's their job, it's their ass, and it's their legacy as well, because if they get fired, if this is a massive flop and, there's all this money lost and they get fired and it's kind of the last thing they work on, that's essentially their legacy destroyed as well of their 20 or 30 year career. So they're just going to cling on to the very end and just fuck it up for everyone.
Yeah. And also, advertising money is less and all that, so it's less returns on that type of thing. Unless this amazing sort of epic thing became a worldwide sensation. Like, you look at something like The Office, which has been sold in like 200, I don't know, how many countries are there? 250?
Well,
how many was it?
We've been through this. You thought it was 52.
I thought it was 52. It was really 250.
I realised that was the weeks. That's how many weeks there was in a year.
So what is it now? I've forgotten.
Yeah, I reckon it's around 250.
Okay, so it's sold in let's just say 100 countries.
Yeah.
And also they've remade it everywhere, which means they keep paying Ricky Gervais this money. And The Office was just a simple idea, but a very kind of interesting, forward-thinking comedy done very, very well.
Yeah.
And it's there's no reason that we couldn't do that, but we're more likely to do the knockoff of it and pay for the rights to do the shitty, New Zealand Office, and it be really, really terrible.
Yeah, T-Office.
T-Office. But if you think that I'm wrong, which I'm sure you don't, but if you did, just look at the same, the production companies and the people that are making our television. Look at 10 years ago and look at now, and I guarantee you will see they're all the same people.
Yeah.
There's a decade worth of the same people getting money.
Yeah.
And expecting different results, which is madness, Harley.
It is.
It's doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different results.
Yeah, that's it. The definition of madness.
And that is what these people are doing. So, just a thought.
Yeah.
Now, I did... we should talk well, we've got a listener question. Should we go to the listener question?
Okay, now we do have a listener question here.
I just got an email. Don't worry about that.
Don't worry about that. So, Jeremy says... I'm 35 and married and have moved away from a lot of my friends. I'm also quite introverted. How do I make new friends as an adult without looking like I'm trying to come on to other guys? Also, how do I come on to other guys without looking like I'm trying to be friends? Thanks.
Well, we'll answer this as a two-part
question. It's a good question, Jeremy. It's a good question.
Thank you, Jeremy. First part of that question, I would say... How do you make friends? 1, break up with your wife.
Yeah.
Your wife is holding you down.
Yep.
She made you move to some shitty place that you really didn't want to. Maybe even made you have kids.
Moved you away from your friends.
Which I'm sure you didn't want to.
Yeah.
And now you're kind of stuck in this situation and you probably got obligations to her to A, spend time with her, B, provide for these kids that you maybe have, or at least, basically kind of give her all your money, which is what wives do, is they make you give them all their money. So what can you do?
Generalization. Yeah.
Divorce.
Yeah, that's the answer.
Divorce, because I can guarantee you, as soon as you divorce her, one, you'll feel like a great weight has lifted off you. And
perhaps physically.
And you
depending on the situation,
and you will feel more confident in yourself. You say you're introverted. She probably made you introverted. You'll probably become an extrovert, and suddenly you'll be the funny guy at work that's telling all these amazing stories about how you broke up with your wife and all the stuff that she's taking from you. She's taking the dog. You only get to see the kids on the weekend.
Hilarious.
And they're like, oh man, I feel so bad for you. Come out with a couple of beers with the boys, and that is what will happen. And so, I feel like that's the best, for me.
Yeah, well, no, you're right. And besides, everybody knows, Jeremy, that, there is a whole sea of pussy out there, just waiting for a single fella such as yourself to cruise along.
To dip his toe in.
Yeah, so I'm inclined to agree. You've got to be, there's so many opportunities out there for a single person and, it's untethered sort of person. So, yeah, I'm inclined to agree with you there, Guy.
Yep.
But I as well have a little bit of trouble making friends, I think. I wouldn't consider myself an introvert, but I also wouldn't say I'm an extrovert either, really.
Yeah.
When I go out, I'm not the loudest person in the room as a general rule. So I find it difficult as well to meet people. How do you do that? And I feel like it's become more difficult nowadays with Facebook and all this social media stuff. I almost feel like before I had social media, I was actually better at talking to people at a party or, at a pub or at the gym or whatever, So I don't really have that. So maybe divorce the wife and get off Facebook.
Yep.
As for that's another good thing. How do you make it that it doesn't feel like you're hitting on them? How do you ask a guy out for a drink without it seeming like you're hitting on him?
Well, I really feel beer. If you say beer, you're going for a beer. If you said a cocktail, well, there may be some questions asked. Yeah, but if you just say, should we go grab a beer after work? That's all right.
I don't know what industry you're in, Jeremy, but I find that I quite like asking men out from the internet for a networking beer.
Yep.
And I find that actually leads to some friendships as well, where you sort of, you go, hey, you want to meet for a networking beer? And normally I'll meet up with somebody who's in some way sort of in the film or TV biz, but not necessarily for a specific end or project, just to see what you're up to, just have a chat, make that connection in real life. And, as a result of that, you're sort of using work as the excuse, but in reality, what you're doing is you're meeting up with somebody and having a beer and hanging out for a couple of hours.
Start a podcast. That's another one. We're accumulating some new friends through our podcast.
Yeah, Will Fleming, for
Will's
example.
our best mate now.
He's our best podcast mate.
We tweet all the time. We have chats. We shout him out on the podcast. He shouts us out. We do interviews. He'll probably come in and do an interview with us at some point.
Yeah.
We're great old mates. How did that happen? The podcast.
Yeah.
So just start a podcast.
I guess you got to make an effort there. To no matter what, you're going to have to make an effort because, like you say, having the wife there, you come home from work, hang out with the wife, hang out with the kids,
do the chores and cleaning. Makes you do.
Yeah,
she tells you got all the stuff you got to do when you get back. You got chores, you got cleaning, you got to cook a meal, and then you might even have to have sex with her. She might ask that of you, even though you're tired and you've done all the chores and the cooking that she told you to do. And, you ran the kids round for a little while because she said, give the kids a run.
Tucker them out.
Yep.
Yeah.
Tire them out, So you're quite tired. You don't really want to have sex with her. But, you might have to do that. So, it's really getting rid of her.
Yeah.
She's taking all your time.
Stealing your mana, bro. She's stealing your mana.
Or you could, and this is a pretty wacky idea.
Join a swingers club with your wife.
Right. I wasn't going to say that.
No?
I was going to say become best friends with your wife.
Oh, right.
That way, she's right there all the time.
But who's going to look after the kids while you guys are hanging out and having fun?
That's a good question.
Yeah.
And
Uncle Guy.
And also who wants to, is your wife really going to be that good? Can you really have those jokes with her?
Well, also, how long have you been together? Because probably if you've been together for 10 years or more, you've almost certainly kind of said all the jokes. You've had all the fun. You've said all the jokes.
There's no more fun or jokes to be had in the rest of your life with her.
Now you just stare into each other's soulless eyes,
and remember what once was.
Yeah. Wonder where that spark went. So we really hope we've helped you here, Jeremy.
Well,
the answer is when that's the first part anyway. The answer is you've got to leave your wife, Jeremy. Yeah. You can tell her that's Guy and Harley's official advice.
Yeah.
The second part, how do you hit on men without them thinking that you're just trying to be friends? Well, that's simple, my friend. Location, location, location. You can't just walk up to a guy and hit on him on the street. You've got to go to the right place. Like, surely there must be sort of a gay friendly bar. Now, we're not talking about a gay bar because as a closeted man, you can't be seen hanging around there.
Overt.
But there are a lot of places, I feel like Ponsonby, for example, if you go out
every
in Ponsonby...
bar is gay-friendly in Ponsonby.
Well, exactly, as it should be. Yeah. But, you're going to walk in there, I feel like you're going to see a higher sort of amount of gay men per capita.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so you go into a bar like that, and, I really feel like if he's gay, if he's outwardly gay, and you're talking to him, well, I really feel like he's probably going to assume you're hitting on him.
Yeah, also, comment on, his shirt or something.
Yeah, you reckon the compliment angle?
The complimentary of fashion.
I don't know. Does that work with gay men in the same way that it works with women? Is that a thing?
I don't
Do you
know.
walk up and compliment them?
I think it could. I just think if you say, look, hey, that's a really fresh looking shirt you got on.
So that's Guy's advice for hitting on men is to go up and tell them they've got a nice shirt on.
That's a nice shirt.
Compliment
you got
their
on.
clothing.
I like your attire. Those pants, did you pre-crease those?
Yeah, you're not very good at this, are you? You're really not very good at this, are you?
Well, I haven't hit on guys in a long time because I'm in a relationship now.
It's been a long time. Yeah.
But
yeah.
also the subtle hand on leg.
Well,
That's always gonna, it's very hard for a guy to assume that you just want to be friends
when you're touching his
if
penis.
your hand wanders up his inner thigh.
Yeah. I guess, that's something that sometimes I wonder about is how does a gay man know that another gay man is gay when in this, sometimes there's very obviously flamboyantly gay men, but how do you,
He's doing his best Heath Ledger Joker impersonation. It's a sure giveaway.
Yeah. But if you're just a sort of a guy who likes to have sex with men, who is attracted to men, but you don't feel you don't identify with the flamboyant gay sort of culture. How does a guy like that meet another guy like that? How do they? What's the protocol? How do they tell that the other one is gay? I guess it might just be a bit of lingering eye contact. Probably the same as
same as with women.
With women, yeah, the old walk into the room, have a chat, a little bit of lingering eye contact. Oh, okay, all right, eye contact.
But I'm sure
Contact is king.
It must be a mistake made quite often. Of people being like, I think he's gay. Yeah, he's gay. I'm gonna hit on him. Oh, not gay. That must happen quite a lot.
It must be a cultural sort of or a social sort of minefield out there.
Well, also because you're dealing with the people that are gay but are closeted and don't want to admit they're gay. So they are
layers.
giving you eyes and they are attracted to you. But if you actually, put a hand on it, you'd be a disgusting, homosexual that they're, deeply offended by, even though they were putting out all those signals because they're a closet gay.
So
It's tough. It's a tough world for you, Jeremy. But lose a wife, get yourself a new boyfriend. I think you'll be doing okay.
Well,
because they will introduce you to all their gay friends.
I was going to say I had a second tip. So first one was location. Second tip, chaps. Arseless chaps.
Yeah.
Walk around in those. Nobody's going to mistake you for a friend. Okay, if you're talking to them and you're wearing arseless chaps, trust me, they'll get the gist. They'll be picking up what you're putting down.
That's true. That is valid.
So I really hope that's been helpful, Jeremy.
Jeremy, I think we've helped your life immeasurably.
Yeah. So
when you take on our advice.
So thank you for your question, and to the other people listening, if you have any suggestions, questions for next week, make sure you let us know on Facebook, facebook.com/Guy and Harley, and give us your questions, and we will solve your problems just like we did for Jeremy.
Yeah.
So yeah, what else you got?
Well, okay, so a couple of things. I watched a great film the other night.
Yep.
Crimson Peak.
Yes, I heard that was good.
Gothic horror film, sort of a bit like the old Hammer horror films, starring the deceased Christopher Lee, but just very. It's by Guillermo del Toro.
Yep.
Who did Pan's Labyrinth,
and who wrote The Strain?
He did, and he's the showrunner on The Strain.
What does that mean?
It means that he's the boss. He runs it.
Right. Yeah. Well, that makes sense.
And so, and he did Pacific Rim, which...
Pacific Rim job.
He did Mimic, which is an old horror film. He did Kronos. He did a lot of...
Mimic was his first big
which
one,
he had
right?
a horrible experience on, but then kind of rebounded and made some amazing films. Anyway, he was scheduled to do the Hobbit films. And I would be very interested to see what...
Yeah, he came over and he did a
he was
Q&A.
all getting ready.
He did a Q&A in Wellington, which you went to? Did you go to that?
No, I don't think I went to that. But he's basically a very interesting director. No matter what he does, whether it's good or bad, he does very interesting things. The Strain is not that great a TV show in a lot of ways, but it's still very interesting. A lot of interesting ideas. And anyway, what I thought was so great about it is the look of it was just phenomenal. Like, it's turn of the century, and so it's a period piece. But I think no one does detail better than him. The level of detail in the set design, in the costumes, in the sort of the richness of that is like, you go, oh, I can see this film costs a lot, but I can see it all up on the screen. Like, I can see that every single dollar, you just marvel at the artwork or these weird sets, and they're just so imaginative and so beautiful, and it's like looking at like this phenomenal, every frame is like looking at this phenomenal painting. And it just is so good for bringing you into that world. And, I just thought, and it's a very cool story, like, it's not a super scary horror film. It's a bit more of a thriller, if anything. But it is just visually sumptuous, is what. But it also got me to thinking about, I guess, when you say you want to put it up on screen. Because I think the frustrating thing about some films, some Hollywood films, is you don't really see where all the money went.
Because it all goes to the accountant and the lawyers and the
actors.
And the actors. Well, you got to pay for those good actors.
Well, that's the thing, though, because I guess this is my kind of beef with the big scale, so for an actor gets $10 or $20 million for a film, it's almost like, because, let's just say a flat fee is like a couple of $100,000 for a film, which is more than enough for anyone. Okay? A couple of $100,000 will keep you going for a couple of years to get more acting work. It'll keep you very comfortable in your life. You can do really whatever you want. So that, to me, is totally reasonable. You go beyond that, and then I feel like an actor is getting paid a bonus for the potential of the film without any proof that the film will do well because they're in it. And I also think we're moving away, like back in the day, you would like pay to see a film because someone's in it.
Yeah.
And I do think that's really changed with the internet, with piracy, with everything. Whereas like no particular name will get anyone into theaters anymore. Like you go, oh, he's a good actor. It might be good, but you wouldn't just go, oh, I love him, I have to go see that. There's no one that has that kind of fan service anymore, I don't think.
There are still people like, for example, I will always walk into a Leonardo DiCaprio film
with optimism,
with confidence, because I know that he's in it, and I know he's really good, and I know he only picks, he only does good scripts. Really, I haven't seen a bad one yet. So he certainly reassures me before I put down my dollar that the film is going to be good. But I don't go specifically because he's in it. The film still has to look good.
And that's why I kind of respect people like George Clooney, who always takes less money, but he takes back end.
Yeah.
So he's like, look, you pay me this much, which is not as much as all the other people are charging, but you give me money at the end if it does well. And I feel like that's a much fairer way to do things, because you're saying, look, I'm invested in the success of this film. Because, if someone gets $20 million either way, why do they fuck even give about doing it well?
Yeah.
Where's the motivation for them? If they collect so I mean, a lot of these stars collect a paycheck if the film does not get made. So if the film shuts down a week before production, they still get their fee, and they just walk away. Pay or play deal. And so it's almost like you can imagine some of them are like kind of pick a shitty film because they're getting paid $20 million, and then they're kind of even hoping that it doesn't go forward because they'll get paid anyway. And then they don't have to be in the film, and they don't have to do anything for it. And I do think that, especially with the way that, more and more people are, not paying for films, we have to restructure the way that we, pay actors. We cannot keep giving them these exorbitant amounts of money for films that are not dependent, on them being in it or not. What's your take on that?
Well, you're probably right. Times are changing. I'm inclined to agree. Speaking of Hollywood, but not on that topic specifically, I saw that there was a shooting outside the comedy club, which you and I walked past several times. The one on the way to Melrose Boulevard.
Sunset Boulevard, maybe.
A 20-year-old got shot and killed outside there.
Right.
I just saw that today.
All right.
Just a little aside. I just thought that was interesting because it was like I saw the picture and I was like, hey,
we were there.
We were there.
We could have been that person that was shot.
Or we could have been filming it and got fucking put that bad boy up on steakandcheese.com or WikiLeaks.
I don't even know what steakandcheese.com is.
Well, yeah, Steak and Cheese. It's a reference from too long ago. Basically,
right.
There's a new one now. What's it called? Like WikiLeaks or something like that. But it's basically one of those websites where all people of videos of people dying and so on go.
Yeah. Well, thank you for that. For going completely off topic there.
Yeah.
But I think that, sometimes actors should consider when they're thinking about being in something that is low budget, is that every amount more that they ask for is one less take that they might get to do. It's one less day that they will have to shoot their scene. It's one less light that will make them look beautiful.
But I guess they don't think like that.
They don't, but they should.
Well, no, but it's also not even necessarily true because it's like you might get the same amount of takes and all that stuff, and but the fucking producer just pockets another couple of 100,000 or, like that all gets funneled away into, some motherfucker that gets it, like you have to have full trust in the production team, I guess, the money is not going to go to you, but will end up on screen instead, which is not necessarily the case.
Well, yes and no. I mean, I think budgets are normally proportionate to the actors' fees. So the budget will go down when the actors' fees go down. It doesn't stay the same when the actors' fees go down. It just, so I think that actually they are running into problems, and also certainly on an independent film, there's no question that if, that money is spent on the actor, it's not spent on the production.
Well, I think independent films, I guess, are a bit of a different sort of case. If you've got $1 million to shoot a film, but, your actor wants 200,000, that's actually quite a big chunk of your budget.
Yeah. I mean, I think that Kevin Smith said that Jersey Girl, which was like, this big flop, was 20 million, cost 20 million or 25 million, but he was like, but 10 million of that was Ben Affleck's fee.
Right.
So really, we made a $10 million film.
Yeah.
But we paid this guy 10 million.
But weren't they mates?
Yeah. But, all's fair in love and movies.
Yeah.
Jesus. Fee's a fee.
Yeah.
So I just thought that was interesting, but I just think that
well, Guy, if you had $20 million to make a movie and I was as big as Ben Affleck, I don't think I'd take half your budget.
Oh, you better bloody not.
I don't think I'd do that to you.
You better bloody not, or we'll have words. You'd be foolish to. That's the thing, is like, clearly he was like, well, with $10 million I can make this film. I know Kevin Smith, I know he can do this film for $10 million. But I would be thinking, well, what could he do for 20? Or what could he do for 18? Give me 2.
Yeah, $2 million. It's still pretty fair for a movie where you just got to make out with fucking Jennifer Lopez.
Yeah, like, what a chore.
Yeah, what a chore.
Get $10 million to make out with Jenny from the block. and basically, get nice catering food and maybe do a bit of acting here and there. Now, do we have another question?
No more listener topics this week. We just got the one. So you guys, make sure you hook us up for next week.
Yeah. Well, look, we should quickly talk about the German edition of I Survived a Zombie Holocaust.
Right. It is out now over there.
Yeah, it's out
on
now.
Blu-ray and DVD.
It's the only place in the world that you can get the zombie film on Blu-ray.
And it's been overdubbed in German.
That's the fun of it.
Well, we're pretty sure it has been, because the trailers have been. So you have to assume that they overdubbed everything.
Well, there's a bit of a question mark there. Is just the trailer done? Because the trailer is only 2 minutes long.
Yeah.
Or did they do the whole film to the cost of $30,000?
Right.
Which is about how much it costs to overdub a film.
Yeah.
But what we're going to do is we'll play the German trailer.
Yeah.
Because it's very funny.
Aus dem Land das Braindead, Black Sheep und das Piano herausbrachte. Und Action.
Wir sollten das lieber nicht tun. Es ist zu gefährlich.
Ist das Ihr amerikanischer Akzent?
Diese Krankheit hat die ganze Stadt auf ihrem Buckel. Irgendwas Scheußliches ist da wohl in die Wasserversorgung gelangt. Oh, Gott sei Dank. Er hatte mal wieder halbgare Pasteten.
Du ruinierst mir meine Szene! Ein perfekt gibt doch nichts aus Horror und Komödie.
Sir Richard, wir sind heute schon weit über der Zeit. Lassen wir die Crew nicht warten.
Wenn kein Platz mehr ist in der Filmemacher-Hölle, werden die Toten auf der Erde herumziehen. Das Kino wird niemals sterben.
Warum krieg ich keine Knarre?
Warum krieg ich keine Vagina? Ich überlebte einen Zombie-Holocaust.
And it is, like, I guess, flattering as well that they even went to the trouble to do it.
Yeah.
Because it's like, one, Germans can speak English. There's very few Germans that can't speak English.
Because they lost the war.
Yeah. Otherwise, we might all be speaking German. But we're not. Hitler would have a very different view on history if they'd won the war, I guess.
Well, he would, because, you know, as always...
Because we'd be ruled under him.
Well, yeah, like history is written by the winners, as they say. So, you know, he would be writing, you know, the history books would be telling us about the evil empire of England, you know, and their dastardly cousins in the United States and all the horrific things that they used to do to people before Hitler came along and heroically wiped away all of the, you know, different ethnic minorities that were polluting the world or something.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, it's probably good. Whenever it comes to Germany, we always got to bring up Hitler, don't we?
We do.
We always got to bring it up.
We're actually trying to encourage people in Germany to watch our film, and here we are talking about, you know, their biggest shame.
We're going to bring up Hitler. We're going to bring up World War II. So
it is the first thing that jumps to mind.
Yeah, I know, but it did happen, like, you know, what, 60
years ago.
Yeah.
It ended 60 years ago.
So, yeah, it's a bit of a cross for
to
them
be fair, it happened twice, though.
It did happen twice.
We did have to go over there and kick their asses twice.
When you say we.
I mean we. The New Zealanders were there and they were fighting hard.
They got in there.
They were there and they were fighting hard. Gallipoli?
They got killed a lot, for sure.
Yeah, they were there. They had a good reputation.
Yeah, well, also, you know, like I've been learning about World War I, which I knew even less about than World War II. And, yeah, they weren't, German were, they kind of made a lot of the first moves there. And also, you know, did some quite, they did some things that basically painted them in such a light that other countries had to, or felt they had the public support to intercede on. And if they hadn't have done those things, you know, it might have been a different conversation.
And then World War II might not have happened either if World War I hadn't happened.
That was, you know, Hitler was holding a grudge. Hitler was really bummed about that whole World War I outcome.
Classic Adolph.
So anyway, it's out in Germany. There's a very funny trailer, and I think that, you know, what amuses me about this trailer is that they had to go and cast voice actors to do this trailer. Then they had to get them all into the studio. They had to do all these lines, and then someone had to put them all in over the top of the other audio, the music track and the special effects track, which is actually a fucking lot of effort. They literally had to do a casting call for German Wesley. They had to do these people. And the other interesting thing is they've ADR'd it properly, so basically when people are talking, the German voice is talking.
Yeah.
Like it's not all way out of sync, which sometimes you see in just like, yes, who cares about the actual voices? You know, we're just doing this. But no, so they had to sync it all up. They went to that time, and now you can hear it, and it's very amusing. What did you think of your German Wesley's performance?
I wish that they had cast somebody with a higher voice,
right?
Because he's kind of just got a normal voice. He doesn't really have a nerdy Wesley voice to me. You know, I think it would have been a lot funnier as well for me personally to see Wesley in German with a high Wesley voice.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I thought it was good. I really thought it was great how, I mean, the last joke at the end of it is, you know, why don't I get a gun? Why don't I get a vagina?
Yeah.
But to hear that in German
was classic.
Is pretty awesome.
Because you still got vagina in there. You can still hear the vagina.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we'll play that and see what you think about that. But that's us. That is flattering for your film someone to go to the effort to translate your whole film. For this little New Zealand film, they turned it German.
Also, I think I don't know what the sales have been like, but the reception of it seems to be pretty positive so far.
I actually got
You can get it on Amazon in Germany.
Yeah.
It's Amazon.de, I think.
Yeah.
And you just look up "I Survived a Zombie Holocaust" and you can buy it there. And it's got like sort of a 4 out of 5 star rating overall or something like that, and quite a lot of comments, and somebody translated all the comments for me, and they're all like pretty positive. They're all pretty on point. They're all like generally saying like this is good for this reason and that reason. Some of them said it was like a little bit long, and like some of the critiques were, they were good critiques. They were essentially like pretty true, pretty solid. They weren't just hateful or anything like that.
Yeah.
So couldn't fault him.
Well, I actually got an email from a German distributor, and he actually asked me, he's like, there has been a good response to it over there. Could you do a gorier edition? There's interest in a gorier edition.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, we can't do a gorier edition.
Yeah.
Because that would cost us a lot of money, and we
Yeah.
don't have those gory shots.
Yeah.
So it's probably not going to be possible, but it is also just an interesting thing that they really just love gory stuff over there.
They do love gore over there. It is a shame that we couldn't. I'd
love to do
get some funding and do like a new edit.
Uncensored, unrated cut.
Yeah, or and you could also fix up other little bits and pieces along the way that you didn't like. And if you're doing pickup shots anyway, to add in some exploding heads and bits and bobs, you could pick up all sorts of stuff.
Yeah, it would be, although it would be quite difficult, because the issue is if you're going to add stuff.
I'm a fat 32-year-old man now.
Well, also the issue is if you're going to add shots, then you're
Got to change the score.
changing the length, and if you're changing the length, then suddenly the whole sound has to be redone, and that's the real expense.
Yeah.
You could just drop in sort of gorier shots into the ones that already existed.
Yeah.
But even that, might not quite sync the same way.
Yeah.
So it's a cool idea, but unfortunately, our German fans will just have to, and we apologize for mentioning the war and all that stuff. Typical cliche. We became a cliche there. Cliche non-German.
Yeah.
Cliche non-German person talking about Germans.
I bet for Germans as well, whenever people bring up the war, I bet it's just like when people say to you, Guy Smiley,
it's exactly
or Harley
that.
Davidson.
Well, I remember...
It's that same groan-worthy, yeah.
Well, I remember I dated a German girl.
Yeah.
Right.
Have you messaged her and told her the movie's out and told her to check it out?
Well, I haven't, because I'm not on Facebook.
Oh, well, you should do that.
Well, you should do that. You're a friend.
What's her name?
Kati.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm going to find her and send her a message.
So I dated her for a while, and I remember that we watched a movie which had some German, like, Nazi references in it. And she was like, yeah, the movie was good, but I'm not really a fan of that. And I was like, well, what do you mean? She's like, oh, we're over that.
Yeah.
We've done it, okay? Look, I don't have anything to do with that.
It's like, okay, we killed 20 million people. Get over it. 6 million Jews. Get over it already. It was 60 years ago, okay?
When are you guys going to just let that go?
Let it go.
And that's the thing. I don't think that's the thing is, like, for her, this is a 20-year-old girl or 23, 24-year-old girl. She didn't have any connection to that, except that everyone is like, be ashamed, be aware, and then all these American and just basically non-German people just go, oh, you're German, how about that World War II, eh? Like, that's the first thing they say to her, and she's like, look, I don't want to talk about it anymore. I just want to move. I just want to live my life. I just want to live my life.
I don't want to suffer from my ancestors' mistakes.
Yeah. So I'm just glad that we weren't.
I'm just glad we won. I'm just glad we won the war and didn't start it.
That too, but it is definitely a big cross to bear. I will also say though, we're the cliche, right? Of someone says German, we mention World War II and Hitler, right? That's a cliche. We became the cliche there. She was a cliche too because she wasn't funny,
and she suggested that you fuck a sheep or something.
No. But she just wasn't funny. Like, I would make jokes and it would just, she was very dry.
Yeah.
These are a dry people.
Yeah.
They do not, they do not, there's that thing that Germans don't have much of a sense of humor. It was certainly true of her.
Yeah.
Like, the old humor, she was not one much for the big laugh.
She's listening right now and she's like, no, you're just not funny, dickhead.
Well, it couldn't be that. You guys have heard the podcast. It couldn't be that.
You guys are still listening 39 hours in.
Yeah, it couldn't be me. So yeah, she was not that funny. So look, we're cliche. She's a cliche. So get off our back. We'll mention World War II whenever we like.
Yeah.
That's the circle we've come round to.
That's the deal.
We'll bring it up. We'll bring it up any time.
We'll bring it up every episode.
So yeah. I mean, I've only got one other topic, but we don't have to go there, homie. It's up to you.
Let's. I need to start getting ready for work.
Okay.
So we're going to have to call it quits.
Yep.
So you save that topic for next week.
Sure.
But thank you very much for listening, everybody. And please get in touch on facebook.com/Guy and Harley and give us your topics. Also, make sure you give us a good rating on iTunes. Please do that. And for the love of God, this is the most important of all of them. Go onto iTunes and find I Survived a Zombie Holocaust and watch it. Watch it.
Yeah. Come on, guys.
Don't pirate it. Just watch it and give it a good review. And if you really love us, then you'll go to IMDb, search I Survived a Zombie Holocaust, and then you will give it a 10-star rating. And you don't need an IMDb account. You just need a Facebook account.
Also, this is the thing, guys. We provided you 39 hours of laughs.
Well, thank you. I'll be saying
of scathing critiques on the film industry. And all we ask in return is that you log on to iTunes and you log on to IMDb, you click 5 stars, I Survived a Zombie Holocaust, and maybe you write a little review. And all it has to be is like, man, this film is really fucking cool.
Yeah.
You don't have to write a novel. You know, all you have to do is just that little thing for us, and we will continue on as we do, providing you more scathing critiques of World War II and the film industry.
You know, I don't know if we made any masturbating jokes in this episode.
No, we just brought it up that we didn't. So if you were in the drinking game, you're keeping score. I'll just run down the things that we have done. So I have complained about being unsuccessful. Harley has mentioned an audition.
And being old.
I have said Christian Bale has probably made an appearance. We haven't made a joke about masturbation. Harley has talked about space and the environment.
Yep.
Harley hasn't performed a poem. And we haven't talked about anybody dying.
Well, except for all the Jews. and the 20 million people killed in World War II overall. So we did kind of talk about that.
May they rest in peace.
Yeah.
So you've been listening to Guy Smiley and Harley Davidson. Thank you very much.
Bye. You've been listening to the Guy and Harley podcast, proudly brought to you by Pigville Productions.
Laugh it up, fuzzball.